So, Alan, what are some of the biggest mistakes you're seeing from people who are getting involved, or even experienced people with the subject to and in the selling lease option, wrap, deed of trust, whatever entity they created in land contract for those outside Texas? What are the biggest issues or concerns you're finding with people?
So I always say the due on sale clause is the most talked about issue in regard to mortgage wrap and least seen occurrence in the wild out there. Insurance is the biggest obstacle we need to get over, the homeowner's insurance, because you have a situation where Wells Fargo is looking to see that their borrower is the owner and the insured of that property. Yet we're sending up a declaration, a declaration page from the insurance company that says, Bob Buyer is now the insured. And so the insurance needs to be done correctly. While I say there's been 3 out of 8,000 issues in regard to due on sale, there's been dozens and dozens and dozens of insurance issues. So you have to, so I'll always say, if Aunt Betty's been doing your insurance and she has your car and your house and everything, she's not doing this one. You're getting someone who knows what they're doing, knows how to structure that that declaration page, so that the person receiving that at the mortgage company doesn't fail to check off a box. So that's the biggest issue. Everything else we can deal with.
That's a big one. That's a huge one, because I was reading about it. Is like, how do you structure that insurance on that property without triggering the bank that there's a bunch of payees, right?
I can tell you what, I can parrot the words from my go-to insurance folks. Sellers canceling their insurance because you can't insure a property you don't own. Mm-hmm. Buyers getting new insurance and they're the insured. Mortgage company obviously has to be the mortgagee clause over there. They need to see themselves, but the seller, the borrower for Wells Fargo, they're going to be an additional interest versus additional insured. Now, that's the limit of my understanding of that. I let the experts take care of it, but yeah, that's what he's told me.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
For me as a lender, as I become a lender, then I just do force-placed insurance. So whether the borrower has got insurance or not, or whether they're current or not, I'm covered. I consider it just a cost of doing business. And so I just have everything insured regardless of whatever's happening with the borrower. Just to be absolutely sure. I want to make sure that if something happens, I'm covered.
That's smart. That's smart, because I can see insurance companies coming in and saying, hey, this is a reason that we're going to not allow this claim. Mm-hmm. They're wrong, but I don't know if y'all know this. Sometimes insurance companies deny claims that are actually rightful.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Frustrations. So this big world of owner finance subject to is very critical. I presume you tell people to talk to your attorney, and not a lot of attorneys understand this world. What typical attorney should they look for, right? If they're outside Texas, outside different areas, what should they look for in an attorney to draft up this paperwork?
So I'm not self-promoting, I promise, but you need to have knowledge, both the legal knowledge and the title knowledge. So someone can understand these things forward and backward from a legal standpoint, but not understand what the title office underwriters are looking for, and vice versa. So an attorney-owned title office is called a fee office in Texas. You want an attorney that's in the title world, who's also rolling their sleeves up and working in this area. My suggestion on how to find someone like that is you just go over to a Facebook networking, create a finance page, and say, hey, who has an attorney referral? And you're going to get a half dozen real quick.
Well said. Yeah, and we're streaming live in about 8 groups, so feel free to comment in this group and promote it. Thank you to Brian, Nick, and a bunch of other people who have let me stream directly into the groups, because we're trying to educate everyone, right? As note buyers, we want to make sure you create it correctly so we can buy it. Nathan and I both buy notes forever and hypothecate and everything else. So we definitely want to talk about that. The insurance part of it, I would definitely recommendations for that. Just post in the Facebook group, go to Alan's stuff. In the pinned comment, you should see Alan's information. You can definitely reach out by creating that form up. But I would ask for the recommendations to be put into the groups and ask questions there. I want to also
Alan,
touch.
do you guys work outside of Texas or just Texas?
Only close in Texas. I certainly speak with people, educate, what have you, in regard to mortgage wraps and general contracting, structuring and exit strategies, et cetera. But
Okay.
I don't pass the boundary of Texas because my law license stops there.
Yeah,
That makes
All
sense.
right.
So one last question for me, and and I'll let Nathan go with his. When we're looking to help people who are creating notes, right? And they say that they want to do a subject to, and they need a little bit of cash to give that subject to seller, as well as sit there and get some cash flow before they find their buyer. We want to create a second lien for them for 36 months or so. Do we have to go through the underwriting process? Do we have to go through all that process of creating that note and doing it the ability to pay? Or can I just write a business-to-business note from me to Nathan that says I'm going to give him a $30,000 lien on that property? Do I need to do any other additional paperwork or use an RMLO in that state?
So you're that's like you said, B2B. The laws are governing residential loans. And so your analysis is just your normal analysis. Is my position secure enough, and does the borrower have some liquidity if they default? So you're just going through your normal analysis of due diligence versus any kind of that in any of the RMLO stuff.
Yeah. So this is awesome, guys, right? So if you guys are doing subject twos and you need some cash for that for that seller, right? And you sit there and say, listen, I need some cash flow, rehab the property maybe, and go ahead and borrow from us, right? We're going to charge you 130% rate of interest rate, right? And just get your property going. I'm kidding on the interest rate, it's only 129. But what we can do is you're going to get that cash you need to give to your subject to, right? We create the second, and then you're going to go ahead and get that borrower. We understand that you may pay it off sooner or not, but we can lend that money in position, but understand our criteria is to be very, very tight. Meaning we're not going to do CLTV. So it's the collective loan to value. I'm not going to do above 65%. Just not going to do it, especially in today's market. But if you have a lot of equity and you can make things happen, we can give you a second $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to hold over, and we can amortize it, maybe look at the interest only situation and that kind of stuff for maybe a year, 2 or 3 or 5 years, and make it happen for you guys. So just keep that eyes open. And Alan, is there any problem with doing something like that? Is that a great avenue for those people who need that extra money to just kind of a bridge loan?
No problem at all. And 7 years ago, didn't really see it. Now it's pervasive.
Yeah, this is a huge world. Note buyers. We've been doing webinars. This is awesome stuff, guys. It is massive as I dive into it. I thought tapes and notes were big. We're seeing more and more inventory of this kind of stuff. It's a little bit different. I'm not gonna say hairy, it's just a little different than getting a list of assets from our favorite hedge funds. But I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna get a better pricing. So maybe you shouldn't shop there. Just leave me and Nathan to buy stuff, right? So this world is crazy, right? And we're learning a lot about it. And I think that you guys have been such a good way to go through things. And your groups are really, really awesome to be part of. We encourage you guys, reach out to Alan, reach out to the Facebook group, but also we put a pin post in there to reach out to Alan, ask questions. His team is awesome. So we encourage you guys, follow Alan, look at some stuff, but understand Alan is one person. He can't respond to everything, right? He's got to do a job as well. It's been a fun time. So Nathan, I'll let you ask your favorite word.
We're always curious here. We're all trying to predict the future and see what's coming down the pipe. So from your perspective with you've seen, even from a year ago, your response on who's doing subject twos is different and who's selling in that way. So with what you've seen, even just over the last 12 months, where do you think we're heading?
I think we're heading in the same direction. And what I mean by that is we're in I say a kind of a unique situation where sellers want to sell via seller finance and take advantage of their interest rates. buyers want to buy seller finance and avoid the high interest rates. And we haven't seen that in 20, 30 years or so. That's going to, I'm going to project out here absolute guesses. That's going to continue going forward for most of 24. In my opinion, I think things will start normalizing, but I'll tell you, there's no time that mortgage wraps aren't a good solution in several different areas. So you need the tool, you need the arrow in your bag back there for when it occurs. But I think we're going to keep on the same increased incidence of mortgage wraps and sub-twos out there for another year or so.
That's awesome.
That's very good.
Right.
Yeah, we're
It's
excited.
amazing.
This has been a great learning experience for us and a new avenue to explore.
So for those who note buyer sellers, if you want to give information to us, I have a website. Nathan, you can reach out to Nathan too. I have a specific website where you can find a bunch of FAQs, questions, webinars, everything else. I put it in the chat, but just go to Earnest Investing or JKP Holdings. There is a spot where you can sell your note and get some information to us. We can give you a quote and talk about some strategies because we're buying these things regularly. We have tons of cash ready to deploy. For note buyers, we'll be running our 5-week course coming September. So stay tuned for more details. You can go to our Facebook, my website, and go to the advanced education. That in September, we'll be talking more about this stuff in our advanced course. And we'll be looking to hold some daily kind of events with some of the top people here to learn more about, for note buyers and note sellers, how you can strategize to get the good return, but also on both sides. If I'm giving you, say I'm charging you, say a 20% return, but you can go make 50% because I gave you money, it makes sense. So don't be fixated on our interest rate because I guarantee you probably can double it with more money, right? So that's awesome. So we're going to disconnect live and do some after talk, but I appreciate everyone who's jumped on, spent some time with us this Friday afternoon. And Alan, we have to thank you, man. It's been awesome chatting with you. We've heard so much good things about you, and you've lived up to that fame.
Well, I appreciate it. No, I appreciate y'all. And I think I need to attend a little bit more of y'all's events and learn y'all's side of things.
So Nathan has something coming up. Nathan, go ahead, plug it before we disconnect for next year.
So actually 2 things. So I was just thinking here while you were talking, our advanced class, I think this would be a great thing for people that are creating notes. Jump in because you've got a base knowledge of what notes are. Let us add to that because, man, we can do a lot. We can do a lot more together. And if we can understand each other's businesses better, man, we can do a lot. Now, that being said, that's my plug for that. So check that out. I think that's going to be well worth your time and money on that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I run a Diversified Mortgage Expo. We are locked in next year for May 31st and June 1st in Nashville. And really excited about that. This last year was just a fantastic conference. Everybody loved it, myself included. It was just a great experience. So we're looking forward to having more of the seller finance crew out there. Come meet note buyers. Come see how we can work together because I guarantee you there are many ways that we can work together. We can make a lot of money together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Alan, again, I'm going to disconnect live. Hang on for a minute. I appreciate everyone. Joseph, we'll get you in there, my man. I know you're part of our weekly call, so I'll get you in there, bud. So thank you again, Alan. I'm going to stop the feed and we'll go. Again, this will be streamed on YouTube and all the good stuff. So be well, everyone. Enjoy your Friday afternoon.
Thanks again, Alan.
Good deal.